there, my name is Vila Becken, the Rabbi from Another Planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. And it's nearly Christmas. It's the first day of Hanukkah. I got my little candle burning down here somewhere, and I got my decorations up, so I'm feeling awfully festive. This is not what I normally wear if you're new to my channel. Also, if you're new to my channel, I would like to just say, the title of this video could be somewhat inflammatory. And I want to start off saying, I think I might have to reiterate it all the way through, that if you are transgendered, and if you know somebody transgendered, if you have a transgendered relative or a transgendered friend, any of the above, I have absolutely no hatred for you whatsoever. I have no hatred for you at all. I want you to live and be happy, and I'm happy to call you whatever pronoun you want. I'm not going to use pronouns that are I don't feel a language. I won't go for Z or Z, nor will I allow myself to be compelled to use pronouns. However, I want to be polite. I don't want to be a dick. That's really my bottom line. I don't want to be a dick. And as a rabbinical scholar, I would say most of theology basically boils down to that. Don't be a dick. So I don't want to be a dick. And that's what I feel the production team, and actually most of the creative world right now, is being. They're being dicks. So I started to think about this where I saw this story on the awful bleedingcool.com, but they are a good news source, about the latest Titan Comics 13th Doctor comic, in which he crosses over with the 10th Doctor. And it really crystallized what it was about the 13th Doctor that I think has split fandom. And it's not her gender. And I said this ad nauseum over and over again. I was totally on board for season 11. I was totally on board for Jodie Whittaker. I really was. And over the course of that 10, 11 episodes, they managed to totally alienate me. And I'm a person who wants to. I really, genuinely want to love Doctor Who. So how do they do that? Okay, the scripts were pretty awful. The villains were non-existent, the plot simplistic and childish. The characterization of the Doctor was just horrible and completely lacking in authority, which is weird because they very pointedly made her, cast her as a female. And this is like that the Star Wars movie, The Last Jedi did also. And I just don't, for the life of me, I don't understand it. They very purposely cast women in leadership roles and then make them the worst leaders humanly possible. Again, Last Jedi. Those leaders managed to turn loyal soldiers against them and then retreat badly throughout the entire movie with a terrible plan that would get them all killed. And you know what happened at the end? They actually got pretty much everybody killed. So, pretty similar to the characterization of the Doctor in season 11. She never had any idea what was going on, and often she didn't know what to do. I mean, how many people did it take to take out that bloody Dalek with a microwave? I haven't seen the episode since, although, I want to give credit where credit, when I can give credit. So I love the realization of the Dalek mutant on the wall. That was really creepy. I just love that. So I have, that's the only thing I really remember from the episode. What did she do to get rid of it? I think she just opened the door while everybody else managed it and somehow used a microwave. But here's the truth. We've had terrible Doctor Who before. I just bought season 13 on Blu-ray, and it's really awful. I mean, it's really terrible. You can see the hatred of John Nathan Turner and Eric Saywood behind the scenes, and how Saywood just didn't give a crap anymore. I could really see why it got cancelled. No, but this is the first time I've got the feeling that the Doctor hates me, and hates me just for being me and having a very reasonable and, I think, non-hateful and generally a loving outlook to the world. And just to reiterate, I'm going to say this again, if you're transgendered, I have zero animosity towards you. And why would I? No, what I think has happened is this, that we started to moralize our differences, particularly our political differences. If I disagree with you, I am therefore a hateful, immoral person. Take any number of current day issues you want to think of. If you feel, as I do, that immigration should be legal, safe, and fair, that now makes you into an evil bigot. If you think having open borders, particularly on the US southern border, is a bad thing and detrimental to society, you're an evil, heartless bigot. And you want to see children ripped from their parents' arms and put into cages. Everything now is couched in this highly charged emotional language just like that. And it's just nonsense. I don't think 99% of the people who feel the way I do on immigration is motivated in any way by something as crazily irrelevant as the skin color of the people illegally entering countries. So, because of this intensely intolerant atmosphere, we have a sharp cultural divide. And the production team, very foolishly, has very pointedly chosen a side in that cultural, I don't want to call it war, but it really is. It's again a cultural divide. They very pointedly chose taken a side. It used to be very recently that we could all live together with our differences and not hate one another. If you were, say, for example, you were gay and another person was Christian, whose worldviews fundamentally clash and contradict one another, both those people used to be able to live and work together and even be friends with one another. And if you're asking yourself, you know, how can that be? How can, because it's been a while since that's the world we live in. How can that be? You might say the Christian denies the gay person's existence. Yeah, but so too the gay person's worldview equally denies the Christian person's worldview. They fundamentally clash, but it doesn't matter. They're all people. We're all human beings, and I think there's an ability for us all to get on, regardless of our differences. And it's mind blowing to me that I'm having to make this argument, especially in a Doctor Who video, which is this is the core of Doctor Who. We all used to be able to coexist. And I think it might have been around 5 years ago, at the same time, or because of the same-sex marriage debate, that broke that détente, that ability to coexist that differing outlooks has had. But the Doctor Who production team, as I said, have very pointedly chosen a side in this cultural divide, which means in this environment of moralizing our differences, their representation of the Doctor hates me. This is something new. And then add to that the simply terrible childish stories with Whittaker playing the lead role like it is a children's TV show, which is how I think she sees it. She always whenever she's with kids, she always seems to be happy with really. They're always girls. They're always really young children. For me, I think Doctor Who has always been best when it's been written for intelligent 12-year-olds. That's why I think Doctor Who really excels. I think that's what Russell T Davies' Doctor Who really did very, very well. And I think that's why she talks down so much, in a portrayal of it. Because again, I think she sees it as a children's TV show. And talking down to somebody is really bad when you're also really clueless and impotent, as her portrayal of the Doctor has been. So all this crystallized in my head when I saw how the 13th Doctor explained regeneration to her fam in this comic. Oh, God, I hate the word fam. But she explained it in the fam. And when they saw that the Doctor used to be a man, there's a crossover between the 10th and the 13th Doctor. So the Doctor says, biological sex is flexible amongst my people, and gender is a social construct. Then adding, quite simple, really. So you might want to say, look, I'm reading way too much into this, and I'm just too wrapped up in my own crazy ideology. But I don't think that's how science fiction works. Science fiction, good science fiction anyway, is never really talking about the future or outer space or anything. Science fiction is always talking about the world we live in right now and talking about it through allegory. And I feel there's this line is representative of what I call social engineering that Doctor Who season 11 really, really tried hard to do. I mean, honestly, it was going on a bit during the Moffat era as well, but at least we had good stories at the same time. So the first line of defense against this quote would be saying, "Look, the Doctor is an alien. Why are you putting human considerations on her?" Well, I don't think that's how stories work, and specifically, that's not how. It specifically is how social engineering works. This thing I was talking to you about just now. Social engineering is when you take a contentious, progressive idea that you want to represent it as positive and normal, and you put it into the mouth of the hero, exactly like you did here. And then you do the exact opposite at the same time. You put the opposing view, which is normally very normative, mainstream, and widely accepted, and you put it in the mouths of villains. So you have things like the Red Skull spouting his opposition for open borders, for example. Yeah, crazy stuff like that. Then the next stage is you say it's this extreme, radical, progressive idea is completely normal. And if you don't think it's completely normal, there's something wrong with you. So, this is what we meant when we said we didn't like season 11 being so agenda driven. And the immediate responses when anybody said that was exactly the second part of social engineering and pretending these extreme, radical, progressive ideas were normal. And if you didn't think so, there's something wrong with you. You know, there's that scene in the Sununga Conundrum, I think, the one with the little space bunny that was eating the spaceship. And they had one part where Whittaker gives a speech about how much he loves science and talks about the drive of the ship, and it's a speech that she didn't convince me with at all. But then at this in the same episode, you had some kind of transgendered agenda with that by showing a total anti-science idea of a species where men give birth to men and women give birth to women. Well, that species would be destroyed, would destroy itself within 2 or 3 generations at the most. And this is what alienated so much of the audience from season 11. That's what the rainbow was doing on Jodie Whittaker's chest on a costume. It was expressing support for this idea of transgenderism, which is a contentious idea, and I'm going to get into that in a minute. It wasn't about same-sex relations because no one has a problem with that, and no one's had a problem with that since, I don't know, the 80s, which is where I come from. So, as I said several times in this video, I'm going to reiterate it once again. If you're transgender, I have zero hatred for you. I will use whatever pronoun you prefer. I want to be polite. You know, I'm happy to do whatever I can to make you feel comfortable because I do that for any other human being because you're a human freaking being. But there's one thing I won't do, and the thing I won't do is I won't believe what you want me to believe. The science to support gender fluidity is extremely weak. That's just the reality. To my eyes, it's as weak as the science supporting the Earth being flat. And equally, if you think the Earth's flat, to you too, I have no hatred for you either. Why would I? I simply disagree with it. I have a different belief system to you. The truth is, for 99% of our species, for the entirety of human history, gender has not been fluid, but rather a massively important cornerstone to our identity. Gender to me seems no more fluid than physical age. But because we live in this intense intolerance of each other's outlook, I feel my very normative outlook would make me somebody the Doctor would label as a villain, or at the very least a backward simpleton tacitly supporting bigotry, which I genuinely don't think I am. In fact, I feel if anybody's being hateful or bigoted in this equation, it's the other side of the cultural divide, which is growing increasingly angry and abusive as their outlook fails to find popular approval, which they insist that it has, as elections fail to go the way that they want them to and audience reject this social engineering. What do? They blame us. They never blame themselves. They always blame us. They blame us for being bigots. They blame us for being racist. And if anything, they have become more hateful and intolerant the more their ideas fail to find popular acceptance. And this is the side the Doctor has chosen. So, season 12 is coming up. It's just 8 days away now. And I'm going into it with as open mind as possible because I dearly, dearly want to love Doctor Who. I want to love it. Best way to do that is I found if I just pretend everything after the Ghost Monument doesn't exist, I can go into the season kind of excited, and hopefully they'll drop all this hateful divisiveness and just start telling good and exciting stories. And if they do that, for me anyway, it'll be a Hanukkah miracle or a Christmas miracle. So, please let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe. Please, please, please leave a comment because I do like the conversation and stuff, especially if you disagree with me. If you disagree, I mean, somebody left a comment on another video basically on the same subject, really disagreeing with me, and I replied. I was really looking forward to them getting back to me, but they didn't. Okay, so just like, share, and subscribe. Hit that like button, subscribe. That'd be fantastic. And, let's start the conversation. Let's have this conversation rather than just looking at each other and glaring at each other. My name is Phil Becken, the rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day, a great week, and happy Hanukkah.